I was listening to the music and enjoying that so much. I forgot to
I know
push
I
on
played
mute.
it just for you. No, I'm kidding.
That's awesome.
How are things?
It is great. It is great. Honestly, I woke up Saturday feeling really excited for all of us who have been training ourselves to be professionals. And I thought we have a real opportunity to show why we do what we do and the professionalism in our industry to go up a whole nother level. And being like it's hard to believe to say I'm 19 years in. I mean, I always feel like I still have another level of professionalism. And I think this is what we're going to see out of our agents at the Heart Atlantic Group and certainly, hopefully, industry wide. And if not, they can find another career. So,
100%. I think it's no matter what journey in life you take, there's always those pivotal moments, right? And I feel like this is one of those pivotal moments in the professional life of a real estate journey. And I think about this in terms of mindset. And if somebody's mindset is, oh, the industry's falling apart, commission's going to go away, it's going to be really hard, I think, and so will their business
mhm,
versus, hey, this is opportunity. I get to raise my game. I get to act more professional. I might actually find opportunity to raise my commissions and so will their business go. And
mhm,
so the challenge is we're all being very prescriptive around do this or don't do this and this kind of thing. But the truth is, how we think about it's probably the most important conversation because it leads the direction of how we go and where we go in business, right? Um,
mhm,
so I think mindset's so important. And two, I'll tell you a fear I have is I do believe our leadership of our organization is doing everything we can to be proactive and prescriptive and prepare our agents to win. And not all, even in our own organization, not all our agents are engaged in that conversation. But outside of our organization, I think there's a chunk of our industry that's not engaged in being professional, or better yet, not engaged in clarifying value and all that stuff. So we got to challenge them to raise their game or get on board or join our movement we're
mhm,
creating
mhm,
around this. And I've been on a tour of teaching value squared, and it's just the right conversation right now, right? Like it's all about professionalism, as you said, Kelly, and really getting crystal clarity around the value we bring to the consumer and the value we bring to a transaction. All that said, it was a giant, I can't say the word, but a giant S storm over the weekend, I've heard, because people, as much as we want to be prepared, there's still some we don't know, and we're dealing with people on the other side of transactions, right?
mhm.
So I know you've done a Zoom, and a couple
Yeah.
offices are doing Zooms and best practices, which I love because we are definitely want to be front edge. Um, but let's cover a couple other things, and then let's save time to talk about some of that too. Cool.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Let me hit the numbers because they're part of our industry update. So, all right, Fulton County, 1,000 new active listings hit the market in the last 7 days. So I find this interesting because school started when? Like right
Um,
here?
right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So a lot of people don't want to, uh, not that they don't want to, there's always these dates on the calendar that affect the numbers. I think school starting does sometimes affect numbers when it comes to people listing their house. I don't see it really right here.
Well,
It's
you know,
still moving.
I think it was interesting because it coincided right when interest rates started to come down a little bit. So I find that a little unique and why it slows sometimes it's just because you know, for those who have children in schools, it's just busy. You know, you got all those meetings and school shopping and new routines. and it just is busy.
Yeah.
So it's hard to squeeze in another task of preparing a house to go on the market. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it coincided interest rates coming down. So I found that quite interesting.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because are there sellers that are saying, I want to sell and move, but I wouldn't move because the interest rate environment wasn't very appealing. And now there might be saying, hey, the interest rate environment's more appealing. Okay, I'll sell now.
And anticipating that they may continue to go down when the Fed meets again in September. And so are you advertising a little bit ahead of that? And it's possible that they're back out in the hunt too, because
Yeah.
sellers usually are disguised first as buyers,
Yeah.
looking for their next home. And maybe they go, okay, interest rates are coming down, let me go hunt. And they found it. And so now they got to put it up.
Yeah. So 113 went under contract the last 7 days, Fulton County, 122 while we were at Mega Camp. Um, I would have thought this would have been a little bit higher just because people pop in with the interest rates, but maybe there's a lag here. We'll see. Um, 293 pending, super healthy numbers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you've studied real estate stats for any length of time, there's obviously a seasonality to our industry and there's a bell curve to our industry. And usually, right around the time school starts, is when the bell curve starts to go down a little bit. And not down like it's fallen off a cliff, but it certainly slows down from the spring market, the summer market. I don't know that we've seen it yet. And the hope is the declining interest rate environment offsets any kind of slowdown and we just keep rocking through the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
year. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of banking on that. And I'll say more about that here in a second. But anyway, 293 pending, 248 closed out in the last 7 days, 262. Pretty healthy numbers for Fulton County right now. The other thing I wanted to pay attention to is the withdrawns and expireds. So we keep predicting that the expired listing market is coming. And I think agents are funny. I did it when I was an agent. We don't want our listing to expire, so we withdrew it. We withdraw it. Like the rest of the real estate community doesn't know that, but nonetheless, there's a label to expired versus withdrawn. So these are one and the same in the sense, but are we seeing an increase yet? Maybe a little bit, not a lot yet, but it's starting to go up here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, DeKalb County, 583 in active new listing coming to the market, 555 the week before. DeKalb bounces around more than Fulton and Cobb, but it's pretty healthy listing numbers, just kind of the same dialogue, right? 75, 73 went under contract,
Mm-hmm.
161 both weeks pending, and then 151 and 138 on the closing numbers, which are a little bit down. But remember, contracts are 30 days, give or take. Rewind 30 days. That was the peak of interest
Correct.
rates. It was
Mm-hmm.
seven, almost seven, getting close 7.5 30 days ago, which is wild to think we're at 6.5 today. Um, but certainly interesting numbers. Expired withdrawn. Not seeing a big increase yet. I do believe they're coming. And then Cobb County, 527, which is a really healthy number for them. In new active listings coming to the market, 80 under contract in the last 7 days, 81 the week before. It's a little bit off, so maybe we're starting to see that slow down a little bit. And then 175 pending, 186 pending 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit off, but not much.
Mm-hmm.
And then 150 closings this week and 167 the week before. If I went back to July, if I went back to July, we were 232 and 116 in comparison. So
Mm-hmm.
it's probably pretty equal to what July was. Um, just in terms of the big counties, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to the therealestatestats.com and you click on Atlanta statistics, Luke has added this section at the top, which is the commentary of all the stats just put in a summary form. So just hit a couple highlights. We know housing inventories increased. That's been, but it's increased 5% at the end of July. Um, and then the homes sold, uh, I mean, in July, there were 7,308 units sold, which was an increase over June at 7,050. I think August is going to be less because of the 30-day 7.5% interest rate environment, but I think September will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, 4.36 more units in July this year versus July last year. So, and it's cranking, guys. By the way, what were interest rates in July last year versus July this year?
I mean, they were definitely about at least mid sevens going higher.
A year
We
ago?
didn't have, yeah, I think it started all last, you helped me recall this, but I thought it did
Yeah.
start the sevens in the mid-year last year.
Yeah,
So,
that's when it started to go up, right? And it really started in June. So the fact that we had 7% interest rates this July and we're selling more houses tells me, or at least it's a data point that says we're probably on our road to recovery.
mhm,
And I think that's really good, right? Um, but prices are 2% higher in July 2024 than they were July 2023, or about $8,000 higher on the median sales price. So just important data points for you to go back and look at. But more importantly, I want to hit this comment. So these slides, if you click national statistics on the real estate stats, these are the slides we were just given at Meg Agent Camp
mhm.
last week. So this is all data from August 2024. But what I want to hit is the home sales graph, which is this one. So pre-Great Recession, we like gangbusters at 7.1 million in home sales. We bottomed out at 4.1 million. And then there was this recovery period coming out
I
of the
might
Great
clear my schedule and go
Recession.
with you tomorrow because I don't think I can go Saturday.
There was this recovery period coming out of the Great Recession, which anything north of 5 million felt like a normal real estate environment. Our best year was 2021 at 6.1, which you were in it, I was in it. We were
Mhm.
flying high. So 2023, we finished at 4.1 million in home sales. If the first 8 months of this year uh, held true, we would actually finish less than last year. However, all the smart people are saying it's gonna feel like foot on the gas pedal the rest of this year with this declining interest rate environment. And we actually have a really good chance at finishing 2024 with more sales than we did in 2023. Did you hear anything different than that?
Yeah, what I thought is interesting too, and I lived in all those years, for, let's see, you heard a long time now. It's it's the okay, prices are higher. So those who are getting the listings, they feel okay from a financial sense. But there are fewer listings or fewer transactions out there. Those who didn't get it they are feeling it. But I think the challenge was it went so quickly. It was just like 2, 3 years ago to one of the all-time highs in history to now one of the all-time lows or of most recent history versus and I lived in the 13, 14, 15, 16, all those years. They're all like going back and forth. Like, you could go one day up, one day down. It's like but these were drastic. So as both agents and then as consumers, you feel it so much dramatically because it was dramatic. So I think the big message is obviously is continue to lead gen and do your activities to grab onto market share. But the big thing is those who are grabbing it now, when we upswing again, we're gonna be the ones that are riding high. So
100%. All right. So the interest rate today, 6.5. I want to reiterate something I keep saying is the rates on FHA loan products right now are phenomenal. And when we were in this multiple offer market, we as an industry obviously didn't perceive FHA loans to be that competitive against cash, against conventional. And we just basically said we're not dealing with FHA loans. I'm actually going to say publicly that I think as a listing agent, you make your own decisions, but I would rethink your mindset around somebody coming to the table with an FHA loan because the motivation in that could simply just be a great interest rate. And and if you're working with buyers, I would venture to say you're probably going to see more FHA loan products going forward if they qualify. Obviously, there's a limit to that. But the rate, look at the difference in this rate. It's almost half a point difference between a conventional mortgage versus an FHA. If I'm a lender, I would love to be putting people on FHA loans right now. So just check your mindset around that FHA loan product. All
and
right.
the beauty of an FHA, just real quickly, Brett, is the cash that is required from a buyer is a little less, which could help with the compensation question. And they can ask a lot of seller concessions, more so than often than a conventional. So it could be the perfect loan product for a lot of our buyers.
There you go. Couple fun things. Minus all the pop-ups. This southern city was named the best place to live on the East Coast. Guess what city?
We know that skyline.
I know, right? So I thought this was interesting. It certainly could be used as a social media thing. It could be used as a talking point. But nonetheless, I think it's just a good reminder. Like we deal with all this stuff going on in our industry. Yet the reality is people want to buy property and live here. And there's a big draw to Atlanta in the East Coast of the United States. And it's just fun to look at. Another quick topic. Investors are moving back into our area right now. They're looking for deals. And whether they're finding them or not is debatable. But it's showing that there was a 3% nationally rise in homes purchased by investors in Atlanta. Now, is 3% a giant number? But it's still an increase of investors coming in and buying. Is this good or bad?
I think it depends. I mean, I think it's good certainly from just sales if you're listing homes that need investors. And I think it's an opportunity for us to call our own investors. And it just says what all investors, it just talks about Atlanta market, that investors look towards the future and they see our future being strong. So I can take that point to my traditional owner occupant home buyer and seller and saying, look, investors see us as strong. They look towards the future. So it's a safe bet for them as well as homeowners.
Yep, for sure. I did see, I don't have the article, but I did see the government was going after some big property owners for collusion around rental rates. So there's obviously some bad players and some good players. But I love your comment, Kelly, is regardless if they're good or bad players, they see optimism in the place where we buy and sell real estate. And I do agree. I think our market is insulated or insured from most of the US real estate markets to be great and stay great. I think it's good. All right. So we hit it. August 17th slapped us in the face. I saw some really fun checks going on over the weekend. I kept asking agents, you're going to show houses to 10 buyer to 10 houses. What are you going to do? And I know you've done a big Zoom call. I know a couple of the offices are doing Zoom calls, team meetings. We're talking about it. We started the call with that. However, I highlighted this statement in here, and I like this statement. It says, the best agents will thrive, the profession will be elevated, rot will be removed, and the brands that are built on trust and integrity will rise to the top. Fewer corners will be cut, and the industry's tainted reputation will be repaired. Substance will trump flash.
Hmm.
What do you think in that? That's like so profound, right? Like I was like, oh. However, like I said at the beginning, this is to the agents that are engaged. Uh, we're on it, man. We're on it on raising the game. We're on it on raising value. We're on it on professionalism. And I think we will win big. And he uses the word thrive, but we have to recognize that 100% of our industry is not.
Mhm.
And so we've got to challenge our industry to be better because, of course, we have competition and we're competitors, but by and large, we need the majority of the industry to move in this direction, because if the majority of the industry does not move in this direction, it will pull us down.
Mhm.
Know what I mean?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of several thoughts that have gone through my head. If one, it makes me so grateful to be here, be part of KW, and be part of the leading offices to have brought up these conversations. And as you've seen in our group text, the tons and tons and tons of hours and putting together material to make sure we can provide it to our agents, and that processing over all the options and scenarios and questions and all that. So you get the joy of all those texts, I know, Brett. So but it makes me honored to be a part of us. At the same time, it makes me go, who else needs to be a part of us to keep our industry working at a professional level? Like we have, I do know other brokerages have, they're barely starting these conversations,
Yeah.
and some of those agents are quality agents that probably need to be with us, so they can be on the leading edge as well. And from an agent perspective, consumers will know the difference. I think they will see it in how we write contracts, how we interact. I think when we lead generate the proper ways, they're going to see it. So we have that opportunity to take market share. And then my biggest piece of advice to all of us right now is to do two things: slow down a little bit, be a little more patient, like slow down. Just know it's going to take you a little longer in the beginning. When you're
Yeah.
calling for your showing appointments, it's going to take longer than what it did 2 weeks ago. Plan for that. Get the right documents. We can influence our industry by how we treat that other agent on the other side. So let's be nice. That's my 2 points. Slow down and be patient. Plan, I really should say three. Plan for things to take a little longer, and then be nice. If the other side doesn't know what they're doing, which is possible, let's just be kind and go, hey, let me help you. We're in this together. Let me help you through this. This is the forms we need. And I think that will elevate our industry's game. It'll elevate our professionalism and help our clients have the cutting edge. And then we're not frazzled. If we
Yeah.
actually, if it would have taken me 20 minutes to plan showing appointments like 2 weeks ago, I'm planning 40, 45. And just know that and be
Yeah.
okay with it.
And you're still going to end up showing a property not knowing, because there's
Mhm.
going to be a bad listing agent that doesn't, not bad, a poor communication listing agent. And you have to trust that your buyer agency agreement is protecting you, and you plow forward. Because you're going to feel panic around not having the knowledge and your pressure from your buyer wanting to see a house, and you're going to have anxiety around that. And that's why your professionalism around how you do business should protect you, and you plow forward, right? I
Mhm.
also see a lot of big listing agents starting to do this. So this Josh Anderson up in Nashville, he's putting on his website all his listings and what's being offered. And what's interesting is we're now starting to see not 3% on some. Now, this is in Nashville, um, but I thought that was interesting. And then Tony Baroni down in Tampa, he did the same thing. This is his listings, and he's splitting it out from single agent, and he's charging the transaction fee to the buyer's agent, which I find very interesting. But I don't know. I think if you're a big listing agent, you might consider doing something like this. An agent that only has one or two listings is probably not worth the effort. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, what is best practice? We don't have time to cover best practice in the next 4 minutes, but your office, and I promise you your office is, because I'm on the text chains and we're on it, is doing constant conversation around how to be prepared and be in best practice going forward. So any other questions or thoughts? I wanted to leave a little space uh, for any questions, thoughts, concerns, all that fun stuff.
I'm open to taking, I don't know if our guests have questions, so.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Um, oh, honestly, I mean, and we're opening it up to, I guess, our attendees. So our fellow agents, if you have questions, we're here to answer. I would just say, I want to reiterate, I think seeing this and not letting all this new change exhaust you, but seeing it as invigorating and knowing if we make a recommendation, we're looking out for your best interest and obviously compliance. But it's really just like plug in. If you've not plugged in, plug in. And if you see fellow agents that in our offices that have not been plugging in, call them up and help them plug in. It can make or break someone. So
100%. Um, I'm proud of us because I feel like we are on this. And I think the two things is to lean into best practices. And if you haven't taken Value Squared, hopefully I'll be in your market center sooner than later. You should definitely engage into this value conversation because that's the professional conversation. Um, and we've got the professionalism and we've got the practices, and they're not always the same thing.
mhm.
Perfect.
Exercise patience, plan for things to take a little longer in the beginning until we create new habits. Be nice. Like,
There you
let's
go.
really be nice to one another.
All right. Happy Monday, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.